If you're a salesperson from any industry and you're looking to crush it on setting appointments over the phone or selling over the phone, then this video is for you. What we're going to be doing today is giving you the details of how to make the best impact and how to nail the first 20 seconds of your sales call. So sit back, take notes, and let's get started. My name is David Duford. I own Duford Insurance Group. I train and recruit new and experienced agents to sell final expense life insurance, Medicare health insurance, as well as under 65 health insurance and annuities. If you'd like to learn more about what we do, go to davidduford.com/FAQ to learn more. And also, I've just released a new training, how to make $500,000 in passive income each year within the first 5 years of your insurance sales career. If you'd like to watch that, simply go to davidduford.com/YT, and you'll also look in the bottom and you'll see davidduford.com/YT in the description. Number one, set the tone. So there's really two parts of a successful appointment setting script over the phone or opening sales pitch over the phone. One part is certainly the script. You got to get the script right, and we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that in a second. However, perhaps one of the most important elements that is underplayed and not trained well enough is your overall tonality on how you sound and your presence on the phone. The other day, we were reviewing a sales call of an agent that works in my insurance agency who had excellent scripting. Literally every word that came out of his mouth was perfectly scripted to how we teach insurance agents to sell insurance. The problem was that his tonality was flat. It was boring. And if a prospect was listening to that, they'd be uninterested and would hang up quickly in most cases. So you got to have great tonality no matter what it is that you sell. So what are the tips that I would give you if you want to develop a good tonality presence? The first tonality that you can practice on is more of a matter-of-fact voice. So there's a lot of agents in the insurance business that do exactly this. So when they pick up the phone, they sound something like this. Hey, Mr. Jones, this is David Duford getting back to you about the information you requested on our new state-regulated final expense programs. The reason I'm calling is because it's my job to deliver the information that you requested. If you notice how that tonality sounds, it sounds very clinical, almost like a doctor without bedside manner. However, it's not boring, it's not monotone, but it sounds like there's an air or sense of authority with it. This strategy works really well in just directing the prospect to either booking the appointment with you or getting into a sales presentation. So that is the first option you can have. The second tonality strategy is to have more of an upbeat, what we call a ShamWow type of tonality, very much like the ShamWow guy that sells the slap chop nut cutter thing. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. The benefit of the ShamWow presence is that it tends to direct and get people's attention right away. It sounds a lot different than what the person normally hears, and it gets their attention right away and gets them dialed into you. The other thing about being enthusiastic is it simply is contagious. People pick that up. They like people who are high energy. A lot of people do, and people very much reciprocate the kind of energy that's received, and you'll very much more likely have a positive conversation simply because of that enthusiasm. So here's how ShamWow sounds. Hey, Mr. Jones, this is David Duford. I am getting back to you about some information you requested on our new state-regulated final expense life insurance program. You said that your favorite hobby was watching Jerry Springer. And the reason I'm calling is because it's my job. So you can see how my tonality and presence was upbeat, but it wasn't over the top and cheesy, something like a Richard Simmons workout routine would be. Bottom line, this type of process gets people's attention. It's light, it's fun, and that's likely going to get a reciprocated type of tonality enthusiasm back towards you. Number two, determine your objective. So here's this thing, when we're trying to nail the first 20 seconds of your phone call, you got to figure out what it is that you're exactly trying to accomplish. And there's really two different choices here. Number one, your goal could be to set an appointment to then sell them on a product. Or number two, which is to open up a sales presentation right there on the spot to pitch the prospect on your product or service. This is imperative to understand because how we end the scripting in that first 20 seconds depends on if we plan on continuing a sales presentation right away or if we plan on just meeting together in person or on a Zoom call to go into further analysis of what it is that you do and how you can help them. So what's the biggest difference between both? Bottom line, it's how you close. If you're closing into an appointment, you don't want to close into a rapport building type of strategy. Instead, what you want to do is close into a time, an alternate time strategy. Should I see you at 10 o'clock or does 2 work better? But if you're doing a presentation on the phone and you're going to go right into a pitch, typically the best closing question is going to be something like related to where they live or how they're doing today, or some kind of basic rapport building question to get them talking, to get them off of any kind of fear that you're there to pitch them right away so that you can create that initial kind of connection. So now that we've talked about your tonality and the importance of presence on the phone, and we've also talked about and clarified what your objectives are by calling in the first place, let's actually show you the script that we use, whether you're setting an appointment over the phone to see somebody later, or you're calling them up to pitch them right away. First, here's the appointment setting script. Hey, this is David Duford. I am getting back to you about some information you requested about our new state-regulated final expense programs. You said that your favorite hobby was fishing, and the reason I'm calling is that it's my job to deliver the information that you requested, and I'm going to be in your area tomorrow and wanted to see if I could stop by at 10 o'clock or does 2 work better. And now here is the script to go right into a presentation over the phone on the first call. Hey, this is David Duford. I am getting back to you, Mrs. Jones, about some information you requested about our new state-regulated final expense program. You said that your favorite hobby was swimming. And the reason that I'm calling is that it's my job to deliver this information that you requested. All I need is a few minutes to show you how it works. What you do with it's up to you. So when you say that your favorite hobby is swimming, do you go to the ocean to swim that much, or are you a professional swimmer? So now that we've gone over what the scripts are for appointment setting or selling on the phone, let's go over some common mistakes that people experience as they're giving the script so that you can avoid those altogether and get more appointments booked and hopefully get more sales closed. Number 1, don't let the prospect speak prematurely. One thing you'll notice about either script is there's very little room for pausing and breathing and letting the client come in and take control. One of the things that you'll notice when you talk on the phone is that if there is a pause, that's typically the presumed process that all of us have to then jump in and take control of the conversation. The thing with sales is we don't want our prospects to take control, right? Why would we want our clients asking questions and directing where the call goes prematurely before we get our full presentation out on the line? So one thing you want to make sure of as you're doing your presentation, make sure you're not pausing unnecessarily. And what I'm going to do right now is go through the script and tell you where the most common causes for pauses occur so that you can avoid them entirely. Hey, this is Mrs. Jones, right? Notice right there, I'm asking a question in the introductory of the script. Instead of asking a question, just plow through it. Assume it's Mrs. Jones. Hey, Mrs. Jones, this is David Duford calling, and then continue on with your script. You said that your favorite hobby is fishing, right? So notice there, I've asked a question, and I'm waiting for the client to respond to confirm that what they gave me as their favorite hobby is their favorite hobby. But the problem with that is we already know it. Why would I ask a question to an answer I already know? And plus, they may say, yes, it is, or they may say no and lie and start to control the conversation by saying things like, but I'm busy right now, not interested, bye. Those are probably the 2 most common areas where salespeople pause prematurely in their initial script. Of course, you're going to pause eventually and ask a question, but we want it to be intentional and give us the best chances of success, of course, which is the closing questions. Should I come at 10 or does 2 work better if I'm seeing that person face-to-face or over Zoom? Or some type of rapport building question where we get right into a conversation. Now let's break down the script a little bit further so you understand the importance of each element of the script. Now that you know not the pause, how to do tonality, and what your objectives are. The introduction. So with any good script, you have to have some sort of formal introduction of who you are. So the way it sounds with our script is very simple. Hey, this is David Duford calling you back. That's it. We're saying our first name and last name and letting them know we're calling them back. So it gives this kind of idea that they requested some information. Whether they did or not, they're going to listen to you a little bit more because you've expressed some kind of words that have said that they have done something. And so maybe they're like, who is this? And they're going to engage a little bit further. Also in the beginning, I always like to assume that I know who I'm talking to. So if I've got a lead or I'm calling a list and I've got the names of the clients, I just go right in and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, this is David Duford getting back to you about. If you confirm who it is, again, you're giving away a pause situation where that client may start to take control and redirect you from where you want to go. So just assume who it is and go right into your introduction. Now, one thing that we don't do in the insurance business is mention the company that we work for. And the reason we don't do that is because many times the insurance companies that we represent say insurance in their name. And insurance is one of those words that trigger in the mind of our prospects that we're salespeople and we may try to sell them something. So critical functions decrease, and people more often than not get afraid and then hang up the phone before we even get through our entire call. So one thing I teach for insurance agents is not to say the word insurance, and don't even say the company name, because it doesn't matter. As many of us in the insurance business, we're calling on warm leads that have requested information that'll help jog their memory, and who we are and what company we represent we'll certainly take care of later. But saying that too soon can just cause more objections than book more appointments. State the reason for your call. So of course, after you introduce who you are, you need to state the reason why you're calling. So the script sounds something like this. Mrs. Jones, this is David Duford. I'm getting back to you about some information you requested on Facebook about our new state-regulated final expense program. You said that your favorite hobby was watching Jerry Springer. So the script goes right into saying the reason I'm calling. So it's very expressed. It's direct. There's no confusion as to why I'm calling. I'm telling them I'm getting back to them about information they requested about the new state-regulated final expense program. Now, in our industry and in the insurance business, we say state-regulated final expense program, again, except we don't say insurance, very much like we talked about earlier, because that shuts down the willingness for people to see. But what you need to think as a salesperson is, what is it that they requested? Or if they didn't request information, you need to think of a value statement. Hey, Mrs. Jones, this is David Duford. I'm getting back to you about some information that you requested about whatever. Or, hey, this is David Duford. I'm calling because I help blank with blank, right? So with that type of scripting there, it gives the value statement of what it is that you do and who it's for. That is what I would use more in a cold call scenario. So if you're cold calling, that's how I would state it. You know, my name is David Duford. I work with Jim Bob's Uniform Services. We specifically help car mechanics get high quality uniforms that don't stink, something like that. And if you're using a lead, I also like to remind them of their favorite hobby if they gave it to us. Again, this is specific to the insurance world. If they don't have a hobby listed on the lead, I remind them how they got the information or how they requested it. You were on Facebook on Tuesday night. You requested information about our new state-regulated program. I might mention if they sent back a card. You sent back a card through the mail a couple of weeks ago requesting information about our new state-regulated final expense program. And then I might mention again their favorite hobby or how old they were that they listed. But again, I'm not asking that as a question because that may solicit them to then take control. I'm making it as a statement of fact. So one thing that's useful if you're using the phone to make cold calls, a good combination with the value statement is referencing prospects or clients really that you're working with or prospects you're seeing, sharing this information that they may know about. So you may say something like, hey, my name is David Duford. I'm calling because I represent Jim Bob's Uniform Services. We help people in the mechanic business get uniforms that don't stink and they're high quality. We actually were just down the street at Jim Jones's place, helping him get set up with a new program that was really affordable. So something like that helps, again, encourage them to see some value in sitting down with you. Now, sell the appointment. At this point, we don't really want to build any more value into what we're selling. We don't really want to tell them much anything else. What we're running up against now with the prospect is dealing with the reality that they probably are busy. They don't want to see us, or maybe they have just avoidance behavior with salespeople. And so there's going to be this kind of like boiling to the surface feeling of how can I get out of doing a sales presentation with a stranger? So this is why we don't sell the product, because we have to build a connection with the client first to get the best opportunity to sell it. Instead, what we do is sell the appointment or sell them why they should continue to listen to us on the phone. So the script sounds something like this. Hey, Mr. Jones, my name is David Duford. I'm calling because you had requested some information about our new state-regulated final expense program. You said that your favorite hobby was hunting. The reason I'm calling you is because it's my job to deliver the information that you requested. All I need is a few minutes to show you how it works, and then I'll be out of your hair. So I like saying it's my job, especially in the insurance world. This probably works pretty well in a lot of other industries. When you tell people that it's my job, it's like somebody else is telling you to go do this. Hey, look, it's my job. And you really want to encapsulate that as part of your mentality and your mindset. You're just doing your job, delivering information. What they do with it's up to you, it's up to them. You're not trying to sell them on anything per se. You're just there to help them provide useful information that they can decide if it's useful or not. And likewise, what you do with that information, that whole phrasing in booking the appointment is great, because when you say what you do with this is up to you, it's basically saying there's no obligation. This is quick and casual. You don't have to, be pressured to buy. And then also saying things like, hey, look, all I need is a few minutes. I like to say 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Everybody's got 5 minutes. Everybody's got 10 minutes. It helps, again, marginalize and minimize the requirement or responsibility to sit and listen to you. Again, nobody wants to sit through an hour-long sales pitch. So if you can sell that it's quick, if you can sell that there's no obligation, that you're just doing your job delivering information, not selling them, you're more likely going to overcome that resistance that's starting to bubble up to the surface. And last but not least, of course, you got to close this thing. Again, we talked about this really at the beginning with the differentiation between scripts to set appointments versus scripts to actually show up and sell them over the phone right there on the spot. So bottom line, it comes down to the close. You got to close. And again, we're not asking permission. This is the biggest mistake a lot of people do. So can I come over tomorrow? Why is that bad? Because they could say no, right? You're giving them the choice between a yes or no. How about you rephrase that script so the only choices that you say are yes or a yes? So if I'm setting an appointment, I'm just going to say, so I can come over tomorrow at 10 o'clock, or does 2 work better? Because now I've given them 2 choices to say yes to, and my likelihood is going to be a lot higher that they're going to say yes to me. Likewise, if I'm selling them over the phone right there on the spot, then I'm not going to ask a closing question for an appointment at all, because I'm in the appointment effectively. So I need to ask some kind of rapport building question or value building question to get into a conversation and to get to know the client a little bit more and to get them relaxed before I go into the full presentation. So I hope you enjoyed this training on how to nail the first 20 seconds of your sales call, regardless if you're in the insurance business. If you watch this channel, you probably are. If you're in another business, this strategy works no matter the industry. This is a fundamental strategy to booking appointments. It's a fundamental strategy to getting into a presentation on the phone. So take this apart, put it together, use your own industry lingo and value statements and benefit enhancements in order to make it your own, and put it to work and tell us what happens when you do 100 calls. Tell us how many appointments you booked, how much success you've gotten. Give the people who are watching this in the future some feedback so that they know this does work, and gives them the inspiration to apply it for themselves. Again, if you want to learn more about joining the Ford Insurance Group, go to davidduford.com/FAQ to learn more, and thanks for watching.